Hello. Okay, today's mission is to try and replace the upper torque strut engine mount on a 2004 first generation PT Cruiser CRD. And the reason I'm doing this is the torque strut, by the way. The top one, left hand side under this aircon stuff. This kind of avocado shaped piece is the torque strut. The reason I'm going to replace it is I've replaced the lower one already, which I'll cover in a different video. But if you get engine shake, either vibration through the dashboard or when you switch the engine off, if there's a judder and a shudder, it's the shudder you've got to be worried about more than the judder. It might be to do with these, because inside this metal piece here you've got like a big rubber bushing. If you can see that there's a bolt running through that connects into here when flashed in the light, and it's just to kind of stabilize the engine and stop it shaking about and stuff. Now I'm doing this just coming up to sundown, so I'm sorry for how this is going to turn out, but if you can see here, some of the rubber is cracked, broken. I think some of it's missing in here. The lower one was completely shot, so I've replaced that already just a day ago, and I've got to do this one because I think they both go at the same time, and I do not want the lower one to now go bad because I didn't replace the top one. There's still a bit of shudder going on when I shut the engine off. So that's what we're going to do. There's not room enough to lose a coin in these engines. There's only a few bolts we've got to play with. Now this is where it's going to get tricky to show you. Just on... Let me get around here. Okay. Hopefully you can see that there. If I can get around here, see that bolt right there in the middle of the thing there? That's an 18mm bolt. Now I tried to get a socket and a wrench in there. There is not enough space to really get a good go on there. There was not enough wiggle room coming up to try and get that out. That comes out horizontally. I think we just have to crack that and undo it a little bit, and that will kind of push out. This one here, I haven't actually investigated as to what size this is, but that should be fairly straight. We want to get that one completely out, coming out vertical. I think these two have got to come off as well, just to allow us to get that out. So my plan is to crack this one first, undo that a little bit, this one off and out, these two up. I'll see if I need to take those out all the way or just loosen them. My plan is that this end of the engine mount will then sort of swing downwards. So once that bolt is out, that will swing downwards, and I can kind of lever this part to the left and get it out of this pretty tiny hole. Now my aircon, the aircon is busted. There's another pipe that's severed underneath. I wasn't there when that happened. I've only had this car a couple of months, so that is already decompressed. So if needs be, I'll attack this with everything I've got and get it out of the way. So I've got nothing to worry about. But, generally speaking, you do not want to mess with the aircon as far as I understand it, because it's very high pressured stuff. And if you start taking bits apart, you're going to end up in all kinds of trouble, physically and otherwise. So this video, I can't really do it step by step because I've only got one hand to hold the phone, one hand to do the work. So what I plan to do is just to do it in stages and basically show that if I can do it, then you will be able to do it, because I really am not experienced at doing this kind of stuff. Now that I look at it further, there seems to be a lip under here where that is wedging in this elongated part of the thing, so that's not going to fall straight down. We'll have to twist it to one side and then get it straight down. So this is going to be fun, but it has to be done. End of the day, I'll report back. Step 2, get your bad boy up on jack stands, left and right, both sides, up in the air. Right, coming underneath. What we got to do is support the engine just a fraction, just lift it just a smidgen by the oil pan. I'm really sorry about the bad lighting. So there's our lower engine mount here. So the oil pan is what we want to do. Now, big piece of wood on top of a jack will be just the ticket. Let me chuck this up here and I'll try and get some more light on the situation. There we go. Big chunk of wood underneath the oil pan. We don't want to raise it too much because you might want it, you end up crushing the bloody oil pan, which we do not want. Let me do this and I'll switch the light back on. Right, so we've got this piece of wood kind of flush with the oil pan. Now you'll winch it up and you literally just want to see it move. Just a millimetre or two, because that's all we want. We don't want to raise it, we just want to support it. Just that extra bit of support here. Okay, for this first bolt, let me try and show you. The one on the left hand side of the engine mount, hang on. You're going to need pretty flat 18mm spanner, because there is just no way to get in there. There just isn't. So that horizontal bolt, we're coming out like this. It's going to take a while because there is not much wiggle room at all, but that's what you're going to need. Okay, I freed off the first one a little bit, so that is now working its way loose. Now moving on to the second one here, the vertical one. Now this is also an 18mm, but we can get to this with a socket. I've got an extension about 3 inch here, just so I've got some clearance around the pipes. One thing I've learned, and this is very important, because these cars, they're knocking on a bit. A lot of these bolts haven't been touched for 14 years or so. So if you get the sense that one of these is stuck in really, really good, by all means, you've got to lube it up with some WD-40 or PB Blast or whatever it is. Give it a tap with a hammer. Just loosen anything up that's in there. And rather than trying to go for it in one yank with everything that you have, if you don't have access to the high-grade air power tools that they have in a garage, where those things will hit it like a hammer, like that. Try and simulate that kind of movement. Little short bursts, just to knock it round. I've found, and I have broken a few bolts here or there, you do not want that. Not irreversible, but just don't try and force it in one great turn. Just shake it free, because there will be little bits of rust built up in these things. So that's one thing that I've learned that I can definitely pass on. Just attack it, bang, 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 bang. Steady it with the other hand. I can't do that because I'm holding my phone. But that's what you want to try and simulate if you haven't got the money, like I don't, to invest in a bloody, whatever they're called. You know what I mean, the air pressure guns that act like a wrench, hammer drill, something like that. Now we're going to try these. These two are 15mm bolts. So I think this little contraption here, see those two bolts, is kind of like a clamp that's probably going to clamp on to this inner piece here. Right, now I got this bolt out from the back, the vertical one. That 18mm one, that's done. The one on the left-hand side is loosened, so we've got these two suckers here that are forming some kind of clamp. So when I wiggle the mount itself, you can see that clamp is all that's left holding it back in. So I'm going to try and get these out and then see where that leaves us with the mount itself. I'm really sorry about this. I wish that I had better light to do this in, but like I said, I don't, and it's got to be done. The interesting thing is that the lower mount is specific to the diesel cruiser. Okay, that's all coming off now with the clamp. Interesting, I do not want to lose that. But the upper mount is the same, apparently, for standard 2.0 PT cruisers and diesels. So it's the same thing. The lower one, you got to make sure you get the right bit. So this clamp now, I'm going to try and, I need to grab that and make sure I don't lose anything down there. So sorry about all the cuts here, and I hope this is proving interesting for someone. Okay, just the horizontal bolt, the first one, still to go here. Now that clamp is not clamping the rubber bit, the bolt is actually screwed in there, so I'm just having to get in there with my hand and undo that bolt from here, because now everything's moving around. There isn't much room for me to get a spanner in and get any good purchase on it without everything just going cattywampus. So yeah, this is the technical angle I'm approaching life from right now. This is where it gets interesting, folks. We've got everything free. The clamp is out. Now, there's our... God damn it. Our mount is in there somewhere. Now, if you don't have one of these, This is a telescopic magnet. It cost me about £3, maybe not even that. What we're going to try and do is get in here and grab that bolt before it goes AWOL. It's going to be a battle of wits, man versus machine. So I do not want to lose this bolt. Oh, hang on. Come on, magnets, to the rescue. Got the bastard. Look at this. Look at the power of that. On a magnet, let's put that to one side. Remember, that's our main bolt. Okay. Our Usain Bolt, if you will. So, now we've got a mount in here somewhere. We are bring out. These pipes have a bit of give in them. You don't want to, if your aircon is fully working, you do not want to kind of knock them up too much, but there we go, it comes out. It's a miracle. So this is the way we're going back in, with that pointing this way, that rubber bit here pointing towards the clamp. As you can see, this is pretty ropey, man. It's had a hard life. What you can see when you, my amorous assistant is no longer here at the minute, but what you can see when you turn the engine off is it judder. Like that will shake about and judder. This is the brand new one. That's the brand new one, so the inserts are intact all the way around. That's what we're looking for. Right, installation, as they say, is the opposite of removal. Back in this way. Let's go for it. Get your strut down there into position. Leave the bolt out of the equation for now. So put it in whichever way you have to, kind of get this in position, slot that into there while you're at it, and then put the bolt in. This is how I did it. Got the bolt in your hand, come over the top and just find the hole, thread it through so it comes out here. Trying to get it in there with the bolt in is more hassle than it's worth. So now I think I'm going to put this top sucker in here. Let's get that in just so we've got a little bit of security going on. Then we'll work on these two. Put the clamp back in. The clamp, you can see where that's worn. That groove is where it fits onto the rubber bit there. So yeah, get this into position. Reach over underneath the pipes. Put the bolt back in. Let's sort this one out, and then let's do the clamp. Right, the new engine mount is in place. I've got to be honest with you, I wasn't expecting this one to be the hardest one to do. For some reason, lining this bolt up with this input, which is kind of like a variable, you know, you've got more room than the bolt actually requires. This is a flush fit. This one, there's a bit of room, so you have to jiggle it around. So I put the mount in with the bolt in the horizontal one, but it wasn't attached to anything. Swiveled this into position. You have to jiggle it around, shiggle it around till you get that bolt. You can work these in by hand. Then put the clamp into position without the bolts. Kind of, you can do this just by hand. This horizontal bolt, if I can even get it on film, that horizontal bolt coming in, just work it in there, screw that in, and then finally these two. Just work them in by hand till you've got everything feeling where it should be, all nice and aligned. I think we're supposed to do some sort of torque adjustment after all this, involving loosening all the mounts, raising the engine, and doing that all properly. I'll probably need to seek some advice about that, because I really do not know exactly what I'm trying to do with that. So that's what we're going to do. This is just going to tighten this all down now. I'm surprised that that wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, because there is what looks like zero room to work. I've got quite big hands, so if you don't have the 8 hands that I do, you're going to be much better off, but it is achievable. Alright, everything is done in here now. This is all where it should be, so take your time getting everything lined up. This bolt here, the first one, the horizontal one, the one that's hardest to film, it's also the hardest one to tighten up, because you really do not have much kind of back and forth room to work that spanner. You want to get one that's just as flat as you can, not one of the ones that have the kind of curved edges, curved ends. That's no good. Flat as you can. This is Halford's Advanced. Let me zoom in on that. Halford's Advanced, bruv. no expense spared. That's what we're talking about. This is the real deal. So take your time over that horizontal one. I've got everything that basically snug that down as much as you can. There is no way in Hades that you're getting a torque wrench in there without some serious kind of adapters and all that stuff, which I do not have or have money or time for. I'll revisit this one, and this one in the morning when I grab my torque wrench and look up, the approximate specs from the petrol book that I've got, the Haynes manual, as to what those should be. But this video is just proof that it's doable under any circumstances. Dark, winter, doesn't matter. It's done. Hopefully now, when I switch the engine off, this is not going to shudder and judder. So, yeah, there we go. I don't know how much money this would have saved me had I gone to a garage. I do not want to go to a garage ever again unless I have to with something really severe that, needs looking at, because I'm sick of people saying, oh, go to Cruiser, PT Cruiser, I don't want to work on that. And it wouldn't be fun. It wasn't fun to do this. Do you know what I mean? You have to really get in there and sort it out, but it is achievable. 50 quid, 60 quid, I don't know how much they would have stung me for. This part I got off eBay, that was 30 quid. Came from Latvia, I think. I don't know. Is it going to last forever? Probably not. The original one, I'm guessing, has been in there for 14 years. That's probably much higher quality. If this lasts a couple of years, I'm good with that. So, take the power back, people. You got the same sort of problem, you can fix it up. I'll do another video about the lower torque one, lower engine mount, that I've already replaced. That in itself is good to know, because if you're replacing the lower control arm on the driver's side for a UK one, you need to remove that to get to one of the bolts. So I'll go over that as well. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye.